G'day everyone. So lockpickmall.com sent me a parcel in to review for you. It's a 25-piece lockpick set plus 3 transparent locks. And I've had a quick little play with it. Because, I've reviewed so many pick sets over the time, and this one, is just, it's aimed at beginners, it's designed for beginners. It's someone who, they're interested in doing locks picking and Locksport, and they want to try it out, but they're not sure if they're going to like it, so they don't want to invest a whole lot of money into it. It's one of them sets. But as a trainer, this is actually quite a useful set for me. Some of it, not all of it, but some of it is actually quite useful as a teacher and trainer. And yeah, so anyway, what they sent me, I've got it all here except for the pick set, which is right here because I've been playing with it. So that's all in this box. That's how it came, all nicely packaged. Actually, I'm really impressed with their packaging. Each one was individually wrapped, which was kind of nice. Normally they just throw it all in a box. These were all individually packed. The picks and everything all come in a plastic cover, which I took off. But anyway, as I said, it's designed for a beginner, and as a trainer and teacher, I actually quite like some of these items. So, the best and the worst bloody padlock of all time is the clear training padlock. Now, this is the worst because it doesn't really teach you picking, because picking one of these is nothing like picking a real bloody padlock. We all know it, we've all picked one. Well, most of us have bloody anyway. So, yeah, it's one of them that, it's the worst and it's the best. It's the best because it's great to actually see how a lock works, how to manipulate the pins, what it looks like on the inside of a lock. Even though this is a fishbone core, not all locks are fishbone cores. And when I say fishbone core, I'm referring to these little cuts that are in the cores. That's called a fishbone core. Normally they're solid, which is a hell of a lot better than these cheap fishbone cores. But as you expect, it works. It kind of shows you how the actuator works and gets manipulated by turning the core, and how it pops open and all that kind of stuff. So, as I said, for a trainer, these are great because I can actually show my students how it actually works, how a lock works, and they can actually kind of see how they're picking the lock and what's going on. But, it's actually not really... Yeah, it's one of those locks, yeah, they can see what's going on, but they're not really going to get the feedback and the actual feeling of picking a real padlock. But for a training aid, it's kind of cool. They also sent what looks meant to be like a little mortar cylinder version of it. This one is a little bit harder to see because they've actually got 2 holes drilled into it, clear acrylic. So it's a bit harder to see in there what exactly is going on. But yeah, kind of simulate that kind of lock, which is different to a padlock. When I got this, I took the key out to have a look at the bitting. The bittings on these keys aren't much cop, I'd have to admit, but then I couldn't get it back in. I actually had to get a pick in there and force that top pin back up for it to work, but now it works pretty good. So you get one of them, again for training. It's alright, because they can kind of see what's going on, but it makes it a little bit harder with those 2 caveats there. And they also give you a double-sided Euro cylinder style lock. Now, this one, keys are different either side. You can kind of see how a Euro works, how the core interacts with the tailpiece in the middle there. You can turn it around, pull that key out, and then push the other one in, and then you can operate the other side. So you get 2 different bittings in the one lock. Again, for training, this is great, because I can actually show, again, students how that actually works. But for actual picking and the feedback and the feel and everything else that you get when actually picking a lock, yeah, it's not that much of a good thing, because it's nothing like picking a real Euro cylinder. More feedback, harder to pick than one of these. And trust me, I've picked all 3 of these. So let me move this out of the way, and then we can have a look at the picks, not the pins. Alright, one of the other things they give you, which I forgot to point out, is this little guide on picking a lock. It's alright, it's okay. I've seen a whole lot better. but gives you the basic principles of how to pick a lock, the feedback and everything like that. But yeah, it's kind of converted from Chinese to English, so it's a little bit a funny one to read. Yeah. Like, the first pin is to remains stationary. What pin they're referring to? Kind of, yeah, you know, one of them instructions. But as a beginner, it kind of gives you a quick little inkling into how to pick a lock. Now, the picks, they actually sent me 2 sets. Credit card set, which doesn't really look like a credit card, but we'll go through that first, because I'm throwing stuff everywhere, like bloody usual. So, credit card pick set. Small, covert little pick set, as meant to be, but honestly, I've never seen a credit card this thick. I have to admit, I used to carry one of these around, but then I started carrying the Sparrow's Chaos card, only because it's thinner and a little bit easier to carry. But good thing about these, if you take them out of this case, you can actually sticky tape them or tape them with some electrical tape or something, gaffer tape or something like that. Duct tape always works well to the back of an actual old card, like an old bank card or something like that. And it's much more covert than this fake thing with a James Bond written on it. But as you'd expect from one of these, you slide the case open and you get a nice little covert mini pick set. I have to admit, and I really do have to admit, the finish on these is a hell of a lot better than some of them I've seen. One set I actually bought, the finish was actually so jagged you could cut with it, but this one isn't too bad. It does need cleaning. I will admit, they do need sanding. Get rid of these rough side spots and everything like that. Actually, even the handles need sanding to, you know, make it a lot easier and smoother and better to use. But it's something I would kind of carry. The steel is a little bit soft. You can bend it quite easily with these picks compared to a normal lock pick. These ones can bend a little bit easier, so that's why I don't tend to carry these anymore. For a beginner, it's great. Something you can show your friends. Go, oh, look what I got. But honestly, I don't really like them that much because A, the steel is quite soft. It does bend. And B, I carry a much more covert and easier form of carry now, which is the covert companion. But this, again, you know, for beginners, something cool they want to carry, well then, yeah, it kind of fits that. You get a little tension wrench, you get half diamond, short hook, little double-ended tension wrench, which honestly I don't really like. I don't really get good tension with it. You get a little snake rake and a city rake, or S-rake. But there you go, little mini covert James Bond credit card set. Quite generic, but you know, in a pinch, it'll work. And as I say, you know, take these to the back of your actual of an old bank card or something like that, and you'll be laughing. The other thing I always struggle with these is getting the picks to go back in, nice and neat. But there we go, little James Bond set they threw in with it. I'll probably end up giving this away at some point. Or using it to show students a way to covertly carry them. The pick set they give you, well, it comes in this little black fake leather case. It's plastic. It's not too bad. I'm not a big fan of these cases, only because everything's all jumbled in here and you've got to try and sort through to find out what you want. But it's not too bad, so we'll dump it out. Selection-wise. So, get a nice selection of picks. They're all black handles, which I quite like. Kind of fits in with me. The finish on them, they do need a hell of a lot of finishing. Quite a lot of finishing. They are very, very rough on the picks, which is what you kind of expect. You got plastic here, just still stuck on there. Pull that off. They are not full tang with their handles. The steel only goes to about here. That's where the magnet finishes on it. Won't stick anymore. But yeah, they're actually not too bad at profiles. I kind of like some of the profiles, which some of the profiles I'll use. For a beginner, this is a great set because you're not going to spend a hell of a lot of money. If you don't like what you're doing, you don't like lock picking or anything like that, well, you can throw it away. You haven't wasted quite a bit of money. The steel isn't the best. Again, price point kind of thing. It's quite soft steel, so it does bend quite easily. Not as easy as the James Bond card, but the steel does bend quite badly. The other thing is they are quite thick as well, so some paracentric keyways you won't be able to get into. Nice wide open keyways you can get into, like the LW keyway. As you can see, the pick is almost the same thickness as the actual keyway, so you can fit them in there. I have picked a couple of Euro locks using this set, but yeah, for the price point and if you're not exactly sure you're going to do it, as I say, and throw it away, then yeah, it's kind of a set that I would kind of go, okay, maybe look at buying it. I'm just being bloody honest with you. I don't get paid to do this review. I don't get kickbacks or anything like that. But anyway, so you get two short hooks, what I would classify as kind of like short and medium hooks. One with a flat end or flatter tip, one with a pointier tip. So that's pretty much your hooks, other than your, whoop, not that one. Be alright if I sorted this out, wouldn't it? Half diamonds, small and large. They're kind of like hooks, kinetic rakes. They're multi-tool, as I like to call it. This one here, which is more like a golf club, you can go T. This is, to me, isn't really much of a useful hook for normal picking. I might use it for single pin pick and wafer locks, or automotive locks. I've actually seen this style of pick in the really old Lishy tools where you slide the actual cover in, and then you can use this to pick the wafers in a car lock. That's what it reminds me of, is that kind of car wafer pick. But for a beginner, you might try and pick a padlock with this one. I wouldn't recommend it. Or a normal lock. As for your rakes, you get your standard beginner set of rakes. You get a L rake or a city rake, and again, needs a lot of finishing. But I mean, you can use them straight out of the package. These, I mean, they are cheap picks. Let's be honest. You get a nice little city rake. You get a triple peak kinetic rake. So it's not a bow guitar, this is a triple peak kinetic rake. Really sharp points for that zipping action to bounce those pins. You get a double peak kinetic rake. Again, very, very sharp peaks to cause kinetic energy. You get a club cut saw. It's a form of a city rake. Some people like it. I'm not a big fan of it. But it's another version of a city rake with only 3 humps. It kind of reminds me of a little cleaver. You get another kinetic rake. It's not really a scrubbing rake. Again, slightly different frequencies. Yep. Again, for wafer locks. As a beginner, you'll start picking anything and everything. It will work in normal locks. If you can get it in there. It may work to actually scrub the pins, but it's designed for wafer locks, and it's the Snowman or double ball rake. Not too bad. And a harpoon for fishing. Now, this is meant to be a broken key extractor, but this is way, way too thick. It's not really something a beginner will use, to be honest with you. You're not going to be removing broken keys from locks as a beginner. And honestly, I do not use this size to remove broken keys. I use the much, much smaller and much thinner broken key extractors, because you need to be able to get this into the keyway along with your broken key to get it to come out, and it's just way too big. You will not be able to pull out keys successfully with something that big. The much smaller, much thinner broken key extractors are a lot better for that. But yeah, they always throw them in these beginner kits, and I have no idea why. All the plastic handles aren't too bad. They're kind of comfortable to use. They're not that bad. A little bit of texturization on them. They feel quite nice to actually hold, I have to admit. They're quite a nice little pick to hold. But again, price point, you're looking at, someone who's first starting out picking, doesn't know if they want to spend a whole lot of money. It does come over from China. Again, I would use this. I might throw this in my training kit just for beginners to mess around with, because if they break, it doesn't really matter. Or I might just give this set away, which I'll probably end up doing anyway. Because, I have no need for this. I'm not a beginner. This probably get given away. Not thrown away, given away. But, yeah, so a semi-decent selection of picks, but could be quite confusing for a beginner. I would minimise that a bit. Tensioners, you get one bottom of the keyway tensioner with a twist. Not too bad. Quite nice thickness. It will fit into nice wide open keyways. As for restricted keyways, not so much. But yeah, fits into them. You get your standard, generic, everyday, run-of-the-mill double-ended Z-bars. I'm not a big fan of these when it comes to picking normal pin tumbler locks. These are the kind of things I would use on dimple locks, which this set isn't really designed for. But, these are generic. They're in a lot of these cheap sets. Not a lot to go over them. And actually, I kind of like these tools here. The double-ended bottom of the keyway. It's like a thin piece of wire that's been stamped flat. I actually don't mind these. They're quite comfortable to use. They're quite sturdy, so you can apply quite a bit of pressure. I was playing around just before with this Euro lock here, which it's not too bad. Let's just try a city rake. We'll just have a go, see what it's like. I know what the bedding is on this one. So, they're not too bad. I do like this bottom of the keyway tensioner. And I know a city rake will probably not work on this lock because of the bitting of it. Doesn't have a key for it, but I've decoded it. So, let's just grab a short hook. We'll see if we can single pin pick it. So you can add quite a bit of tension to the core with these kind of tensioners. Using the bottom of the keyway. The pick's quite thick, so it's hard to kind of get under. If you've got low cut pins, it's a little bit tricky to get under. But there you go. They do work. They're not too bad. So yeah, for a beginner, I kind of would recommend them in a way, but yeah, they're not really much cop for a more advanced picker. But I can tell you what, scooping around and looking around on lockpickmall.com on their website, they've actually got some quite interesting gear. They've got Lishy picks I've seen. They have, what else have they got? The tubular picks, quite a lot of interesting stuff. So, and the prices don't seem too bloody bad, I have to admit. So definitely go and check them out. Lockpickmall.com. I'll put a link in the description down below at the bottom or something like that. Also, I did advertise it a little bit, but they gave me a discount code that I can give out to everybody, which is Dark VIP. So if you use the discount code Dark VIP, you get 5% off their store, which might help you, if you're after some other stuff. I don't mind this set. It's alright for beginners. Again, for training, as a trainer and a teacher myself, this is the kind of set that I'll give out to people, because it wouldn't break my bank account if they break them, which more than likely they will, being beginners. You always break picks as a beginner. So I'd probably go, use a set like this. But anyway, there you go. The 25-piece set plus 3 clear training locks from lockpickmall.com. It's alright for the price. I would recommend it if you're not sure about picking locks and you're thinking about getting into it. But for, you know, advanced or intermediate or, you know, more advanced than a beginner picker, not something that I would recommend. But anyway, as always, check out the links in the description down below. There'll be a link to the website down there. If you like what you see, please give a thumbs up. Really do bloody appreciate it. And until next time, cheers guys, and keep it bloody